Another episode tonight of Embrace the Chase, and I'm excited. As always, we are interviewing over 100 entrepreneurs, authors, and speakers over the next year to learn their stories, figure out what makes them tick, and apply any of those concepts to our lives going forward. And I'm pumped up tonight because on episode 26, we have Austin Distel on tonight, who's an incredible entrepreneur. He's worked with people like Ty Lopez. A lot of you are very familiar with that gentleman, but he's also the partner of the Entrepreneur Alliance, and Proof, which has won them a lot of really cool awards, like that cool record behind him that you can see right there from ClickFunnels and Russell Brunson. But Austin, super excited to have you on. Is there anything you'd like to add to that?
Man, thank you for having me on. No, I'm just excited for the interview. It's always great when I have a chance to connect with people that are actually in the field building. I love a lot of the interviews that have come off of my training in Ty Lopez's class. And in fact, actually, some of my closest friends now today came from those connections and spun out of it. So I'm excited to see what spins out of this one here because I know a lot of you all are motivated. I'm motivated. Let's get together and collaborate.
I love it, man. I love it. So can you go ahead and just fill everyone in with kind of your story? What got you started into entrepreneurship, or have you not always been an entrepreneur and you've done other things?
Funny enough, I actually feel like I've always been an entrepreneur. I started my first company at 12 because I wanted to buy more lava lamps and go to Batman and get the big gulp. And so I started a little lawn company back then. But what I came to find was, the coolest thing about starting my own company was the independence I got. I love being self-sufficient, not having to ask parents for money. And so by 13, I was able to, basically be completely independent. I had enough lawns that I ended up being able to buy flowers from mom on Valentine's Day and pretty much do whatever I wanted or whatever a 13-year-old does, which it was to buy everything in Spencer's Gifts. So, by 15, I ended up having a team. By 20, I ended up growing pretty big and went to college off of it and sold it at 22. In between time, I had started a few other little things. I won Entrepreneur of Georgia from the Chamber of Commerce back in 2011. And then I started a network marketing company in between time from like age 20 to 23. I did decent with it. I got to like the top 2 or 3% of the company, got the car and all that, helped all my friends get into cars. But, I love network marketing in the sense that it's basically farming for entrepreneurs. It's a great training ground, but I think it's the gateway drug for entrepreneurship. And it's not where everybody should end up staying. I like that it takes off kind of the scary things that come with business, like accounting and legal and all the stuff that most of us probably wouldn't know. And it leaves the job of marketing up to us and how creative we can get at giving a pitch. So I really nailed on how to do great marketing, but I was limited in the fact that I wanted to do online marketing and my company wouldn't let me. And so that's when I started my own digital marketing agency and ended up actually tripling my income within about 8 months of doing my own thing. And so that's why I actually encourage a lot of my friends to start their own thing, have network marketing be on the side if they end up doing that. Sometimes you can even skip that step if you're trying to go into entrepreneurship and just go ahead and do your own thing and aim big. And I'll talk about that kind of at the end because there's been a thought on my mind about aiming big. But as I started growing my digital marketing agency, I ended up buying a course from a guy named Dave Rogenmoser. And in fact, that guy today is actually my partner and he's the CEO of Proof. And that's why you see on this award here, we got an award from ClickFunnels for making $1 million last year with our funnel. And funny enough, here's why, and I talked about this if you actually watched Ty's course with me in it. And here's one thing I always take away is that you need to give before you ever ask. And in fact, 10x giving what you ever ask for. I try my best to seriously give away the farm as much as I can. And when I do ask, it's almost like they feel obligated to buy because I've given so much already. And so when I bought Dave's course, when I was in college at the University of Georgia, I ended up spending all of my spring break money. My girlfriend was so mad at the time. It was $1,000 for the course. You're supposed to go to the Bahamas. And I was just pissed off at my business because it was all client work. It was based on like website design and videography. And so it's project based, right? So here's what ended up happening. I ended up having a roller coaster ride at a feast and famine. I ended up selling a ton of clients in 1 month. I ended up doing all the work myself in month 2. But because I was doing all the work myself, I ended up having no time to do sales. And so by month 3, you can guess it, I was broke. And I started the whole cycle over again. So I need to know that if something had to change, I needed to change. I need to change the way I do business. I need to change the way that I thought of myself in my own company. A lot of the times I thought I was the freelancer. In fact, I'm not a freelancer. I'm the CEO. And I need to be managing the company. I need to think about the company's growth and not the client growth. And so that's when I started hiring on, and I started looking for products and services that could scale. So something that was residual, something that had a retainer base. So rather than doing website designs and videography work, now I took on Facebook ads management and funnels and Google AdWords and SEO and things I could charge thousands of dollars a month for. And so that's how I went from making maybe $2,500 a month on or off, depending on how great the clients were, to about $10K a month within 8 months. And ended up graduating college without ever having to get a job. And I got really close with Dave. Oh, by the way, how it wraps up with the story with Dave and me going to the Bahamas for spring break. I bought his course, 6K Success. Within 4 days, landed my client through his sales script, and ended up getting a $1,500 per month client. Went to the Bahamas, had a great time, and made a little extra cash on top of it. So 8 months down the line, ended up happening is I saw Dave posted on Facebook, "Hey, I can't wait to move my amazing fiance out of Atlanta." And she was down in Atlanta, he was up in DC, and so she was moving up with him. I said, "Hey, Dave, I know we've never met in person before, but you've given so much value to me. I would love to come and help you move for free." And he said, "All right, cool. I could always use an extra hand." I drove 2 hours from Athens to Atlanta, ended up helping him out, ended up finding out that we see him all the time on the camera like this. He's actually 6'8". I'm 5'7", so you can imagine how surprised I was when I saw him for the first time. And so as we started developing a relationship, I tried to give him as much value as possible. And I knew all I could do is give him a case study and put in the work that he told me. I knew if I did what he did and I said what he said, I'd get what he get. So I read the scripts. I did the prospecting that he told me to do. He said, optimize your LinkedIn. I optimized my LinkedIn. He said, create a website that says this, this, and this. I did the same thing. And ended up just becoming a product of his course. And here's the thing. If you guys are maybe taking somebody's course, the best thing that you can do for the course creator is give them somebody to market. And so ended up after, becoming a great case study for 6K Success, started seeing ads all over the place with my face on it, saying, "Hey, look at 6K Success. It created Austin. It created other people too." And so opportunities spun off of that. And then in about a little over a year ago at this point, last October, he gave me he texted me at like midnight. And again, this is still like a hero of mine at the time, right? He paid this guy $1,000. He's kind of like a mentor, maybe Ty Lopez for many of you all. And he says, "Hey, Austin, I would love, I'm starting a new company called the Entrepreneur Alliance. I would love if you moved up here and be our head of marketing, our CMO." So I literally packed up all my bags. I moved all the way up from Atlanta to Maryland to work with these guys all day, every day. Ended up building the Entrepreneur Alliance, which, by the way, if you don't know, is a global club for online entrepreneurs where basically we help people mostly start a digital marketing agency, but you can apply the same strategies that we teach agency owners for your own business. So if you own a Shopify store, if you are a coach, if you own a software, we're teaching marketing strategies in there to help agency owners out. And so I would say it's about 80% agency owners and about 20% people who own their own business and don't market for other people's businesses. We have about, at this point, 1,200 members across the world, and it's only $30 a month to join, $1 a day. So that's what we're working on right now. I've been working on now for about the past year, but there's actually something pretty exciting here that happened about 8 months ago. As we were trying to figure out what are some new strategies to help our clients. At the time, we were all owning marketing agencies and also teaching to the Entrepreneur Alliance. How can we get them to increase their conversions on their site? Because we ended up finding a problem. Facebook was raising their prices. Mark Zuckerberg's getting greedy out there, guys. And so as much as I would spend the same amount of money, less traffic meant less people hit my page, meant less conversions. So if I wanted to get the same amount of customers for the same amount of ad spend, then I had to somehow increase my conversions on my website. And so Dave was shopping for a safari. It was a safari out in South Africa for his 1-year anniversary. And as he's shopping, he sees on hotels.com a little pop-up that says 10 people just bought this hotel room, or 10 people just bought this safari, and 20 more are shopping. There's only 3 spots left. And after about a week of shopping, Dave literally whipped out his credit card right there and bought. And the next day, he's like, holy crap, that motivated me to buy. Just that one little widget, that one piece of social proof made me buy on the spot. And so it was almost that fear of missing out, that feeling that, something is, you're about to lose out on something big. And so he's like, how do I get this on my site? And how do I get this on on some of my client sites? We ended up coming to find out hotels.com, Expedia, all of those other companies, there's no third-party app that made that software. And so we ended up finding out there's no way to buy it. We had to create it ourselves. And so we did. One of our partners, JP, is a developer. And so we said, hey, JP, could you build something like this, show recent opt-ins and sales? And he's like, I think I could do that. 2 weeks later, we got a minimal viable product, an MVP, put it on our site. Our landing page went from 19% to 42% conversion rate.
Holy cow.
Literally like that. And our checkout went from 8% to 16%. It literally doubled just by adding social proof. This little tiny widget that says, John from Seattle just bought this product 20 minutes ago. And just by adding that on, literally everything changed. Our cost per click, or our cost per acquisition went down. Our conversion rate went up, and it gave our business a new life. It gave it consistency. And so we ended up saying, is this an anomaly for us? So we let some of our friends try it out. Then we let the Entrepreneur Alliance try it out. And then we ended up making a company out of it. And now today, it's actually 8x times the size of the Entrepreneur Alliance. In fact, we're one of the fastest growing software companies online at this point. And now we're about to move out of here in DC and go out to Silicon Valley. So it's been a wild year. And I want to, hear some questions from you all. So comment down in the chat and make sure to tag me so I can, be sure to interact with you all and make sure I get the notification. But I would love to hear from you all. If you're using Proof, how have the conversion rates been? Because at this point, you probably have seen Proof at least. You might not know it's our company. You might not know what the company's name is, but there's a good chance you have seen it because, all the top people such as Ty Lopez, Amy Porterfield, and others are using Proof on their site. So if you're one of the 5,000 or so people using Proof on your site, I would love to hear from you. How's it working out? Comment in the section below. But man, tell me what is going on in your business right now. I want to hear from you a little bit. I know I've been talking here for about 20 minutes at this point.
No, you're good. I'll give everyone a snippet because I want to keep asking you questions. It's going well. I've got 5 local clients, been serving them for quite some time. But just doing
down to be. I'm curious. Are you niching down?
So it's funny you say that. When I originally started the company, I just wanted to do restaurants. But a local friend of mine, we were out to dinner one night with my wife. She's like, well, I work at this boutique. Why don't you help out the boutique? And I'm like, I know nothing about boutiques. I'm not a girl. I don't know anything about dresses. But don't ever let that scare you guys away if you are doing anything. I went in, I pitched a client, and ended up working with her for 6 months. And that opportunity led to some other opportunities, which has been pretty awesome. So question I kind of have for you, not to pivot back.
Yeah.
So Ty Lopez, with a lot of people in my network, a lot of people watching this, have found a passion owning social media marketing companies. However, a lot of people have also realized what you've said, and that's kind of the nitty-gritty. They're doing everything, and not everybody wants to be that person that does everything. And there's another gentleman, Alex Rodriguez, who I had on the show who also worked with Ty. He mentioned, like you said, you're the CEO of your company, getting other people to kind of take care of those things so you can focus on other things. So I guess my pivot question back towards you is, how much of your businesses right now or how much of your time is dedicated towards social media marketing, and how much is more towards, I guess, your personal brand and the Entrepreneur Alliance, or really anything else?
So here's what ended up happening. When I moved up from Atlanta to Maryland, I ended up telling all my clients, keep the campaigns. They're already optimized and ready to go. And then I was able to now focus on the Entrepreneur Alliance. it's a more scalable company. The products are, one to many, not just one to one as many agencies are. It's over the table. It's at Starbucks. It's on the phone. And I liked being able to grow a company through advertising and literally practicing what I'm preaching. I was doing it for so many other people, but I wasn't able to grow a digital marketing agency through advertising the same way that I would advertise for my clients. And so that was the next progression. I will say, you'll notice it's progression for many influencers that used to do digital marketing, because here's how it grows up. You want to start and get on your feet as an entrepreneur. So if maybe in the beginning it's a side hustle, you can turn it into a full hustle pretty quickly, right? You only need between 3 and 6 clients to be totally independent and not need to depend on somebody else to give you a paycheck, which is great. That's cash flow. And if you ever are in a tough situation, go out. Now you have an amazing skill. You basically are Midas that has the golden touch, where if you know marketing, and you can apply that skill to anything else. Doesn't matter what company you start, you can now get sales. And again, a company is not based off of accounting. A company is not based off of legal. It's not based off of the office. It's only based on as soon as you have one customer. You're not in business if you have everything else. You're not in business because you have an LLC. You're in business because you have one customer. So if you don't have a customer yet, you're not yet in business. And I think that's something that a lot of people mess up. The glory of this is if you can master sales, if you can master marketing, you can always be in business. And so that's what I wanted to find for myself, is I wanted to be able to master this digital marketing skill, and I can, do it through all my clients. In the beginning, here's my honest truth. I wasn't doing all of the marketing myself. I was still hiring. I didn't know how to do Facebook ads. Especially right when I bought the course, I had no idea. I still to this day don't know how to do SEO or Google AdWords. And yet I still have, at the time I had probably about $4,000 in retainers between SEO and Google AdWords. So the key is not to be the smartest man in the room, but to hire the smartest people. And if you are looking to grow a company, it can't be relied on your input. You can't be the bottleneck. So the sooner that you create a business that's not determined on whether you're going into the office that day, the sooner that you're going to be independent and having the life that is on Instagram of being a real entrepreneur. Trust me, it's not actually about being on the beach and having a pina colada where there's literally no Wi-Fi, yet somebody's still somehow on the computer. That's not really what it is. But the funniest thing is that I will tell you, there is an honesty to 4-hour work week. Tim Ferriss is a huge influence of me and influence of mine. I think that he has shaped me more than any one individual has. And so I remember reading 4-Hour Work Week as I was going through Dave's course and building my digital marketing agency. And this was back in April of 2016. And so right after I got back from that Bahamas trip, and I had maybe, $2,000 or $3,000 worth of clients. And it was at this point that I was like, okay, I need to start hiring the right people. So I ended up hiring 2 guys for fulfillment. You can look up in Facebook groups called white label agencies. If you want to think about white label products, it's the exact same thing. Let's see, Clorox probably doesn't make the actual paper towels, right? They're not in the paper towel business. They're in the cleanup business. So they get some manufacturer to send them a paper towel and they put the Clorox brand on it. You can do the same thing for your agency. There's going to be people that are white label agency that are willing to do the service without their name being on the service for your clients. And these are people that are the tech savvy entrepreneurs, and their best skill is doing SEO, doing Facebook ads, doing Google AdWords. Your best skill, if you're the CEO of a company, is selling and building your brand. And so if you as a salesman can get leads and sales and find the tech person to hand the baton off to, it's a great win-win. You guys are both in your skill set, and I would say always double down on your skills and punt your weaknesses. There's no reason to try and learn Facebook ads or Google AdWords or SEO if you're trying to grow an agency to a large scale. If you're just trying to make a couple bucks, then learn it. If you're trying to get to 10 grand, awesome. Learn it yourself, keep the money. But if you're trying to get to 30, 40, 60 grand a month, then you're going to need to start outsourcing. And I'll summarize this in one story because it was a highlight of my life. In fact, probably one of the coolest moments of my life is I had hired a few fulfillment agencies. I had created a sales process. I had hired somebody to do sales and then passed the baton off to my fulfillment guy where I can now manage the company, not have to worry about leads and not have to worry about the client work. And so I ended up taking a 2-week trip out to Europe, and we went to like 5 cities. And Tim Ferriss talks about this as a test for your company. You have to build up your company so that when you get on that plane, it will run on its own. That's the test. And so I was pretty much off the grid for 2 weeks. And it was stressful. If you've ever been away for your business for 2 weeks, your heart is pounding like crazy because you feel like, why am I not putting out fires like I normally am? And so I'm out in Venice, Italy, and I'm in the Tuscan hills. I'm drinking wine at a vineyard, and I had connected to the Wi-Fi, so I had my phone in vibrate in my pocket. And as you know, the wine guy is talking about wine and cheeses, I get a vibration in my pocket. I open it up, and there's a $1,500 Stripe payment that my sales guy landed a client, and then passed the client off to the fulfillment guy, and everything had been paid. And I got the notification on my app, and I was literally drinking wine in Tuscany and had nothing to do with the sale or the client. I had no idea even who the client was. And I'd tell you, it was one of the coolest moments of my life. And that's what I knew, like the internet dream of being able to travel the world and to make money online is actually possible only if you structure a business to have processes. So it's not dependent on you, it's dependent on the business itself.
That's awesome. So then where do you see yourself going in the future right now?
So at this point, most of my focus is on our software company, Proof. The Entrepreneur Alliance is an amazing community. So it's self-run, and that's kind of our inner circle. We do a lot of the behind the scenes, and we show things to the Entrepreneur Alliance, and they're kind of like our beta test group. So they get access to stuff that we don't release for even months ahead. Again, like that's how Proof started anyways. Like we let EA members use Proof in the beginning. So that's our tight-knit community. And they'll always be there. They'll always be our people, that's our tribe, and we care about them so much. So we focus on them. And then Proof, though, is our main software. We lead by example, and we're really trying to get to 1 million a month. That's the goal here. In the next 3 years is 1 million a month.
That's wild. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Good for you guys. And you get another plaque for each month that you're doing it. That's great. That's great. So what about like your personal brand? Are you wanting to write a book, or are you wanting to create like your own course, or are you guys mainly just partnering up together and going in for the long haul?
I don't quite feel internally that I've earned a book yet. I don't quite feel like I've earned the author title. I first want to sell the company for 100 million. And once we do that, and maybe I get a little bit more perspective and a little experience under my belt, that's when maybe I'll write a book. At this point, I'll stick to creating training videos and things like that because it's more short term. We don't know what's going to happen in Facebook in 3 years. And I feel like if you're going to write a book, it should be evergreen. I want a book to outlast my lifetime. And so a lot of my knowledge and experience is how to arbitrage Facebook ads and, get the highest conversion rate on your website. Who knows what websites will even look like in a few years. So, let me get a few years under my belt first before I write a book.
I like it. So I'll ask you one last question. It's the same question I ask everyone on the show. And what's on your heart or on your mind right now that you want people to know either about you or a specific cause before I let you go?
Okay. I think that not enough people aim big. I think that you might have a dream to start an online business, and you might be thinking only 10,000 a month, and that's all you need to be able to make it big. But I encourage you to really dream. Les Brown, one of my old mentors, said most people in life don't aim. They fail in life not because they aim too high and miss. It's because they aim too low and hit. And I feel a lot of my close friends, a lot of my family members, and a lot of the people that I am working with online are just not aiming big enough. They don't realize that the competition for extravagant things, for the greatest things in life, it's empty at the top. It's totally empty at the top. And the funny enough thing is mediocrity is what's crowded. Being at the bottom where everybody's fighting for, who has the base Facebook ads course, that's just average. That's what everybody's doing. Why do what everybody else is doing? That's where it's the most crowded. So aim big and go for where most people are too scared to go. And I know it's scary to think like, oh, how am I going to go there? And here's the thing I have to say about that. You're overestimating your competition and you're underestimating yourself. If you realize that you have so much more potential than you know, and the people that you think have a lot of potential aren't doing shit with it, that's when you know you can win. Because the people I know that make the most amount of money aren't the coolest. They're definitely not the smartest. And they're actually not even the hardest working. They're the ones that are willing to try for the big things that nobody else is willing to try for. And it's the funniest thing. This applies not only for business, not only for sports, not only for dating. The thing about dating, okay? So if you go into a bar and there's 1,000,000 sixes, there's maybe 500,000 eights, and there's probably only 1,000 tens. Guess what? Most people are going for the eights, not the tens. And so if you underestimate yourself and overestimate your competition, you're now put yourself in mediocrity where everybody else is, and you're just going to go for the eights. But I can guarantee that if you went up and talked to all the tens, your conversion rate is going to be much higher. And this is for everything. If you want to try and get on a media outlet, it's harder to get on the ones that everybody's trying for. But if you reach out to the big dogs, something that's maybe really intimidating for most people to do, they actually get less requests, less people hit them up, and you'll have a better chance of getting there. And this applies to so many things. If you can take the concept and put it into practice, I guarantee you'll win past all the hard workers. You'll win past all the smarter people, all the cooler people in the world, if you're just willing to take this next step.
That was phenomenal advice. That's a great way to end the show. Austin, I really appreciate having you on, brother. For those of you that are watching live or whether you're watching later, down below you're going to see the links to both the Entrepreneur Alliance, Proof's Facebook page, as well as Austin's personal Facebook page. And don't hesitate to reach out and get involved in the community. It's awesome. As you can see him here, he's the real deal. He was this way before we started on live. So great guy. Thank you so much for being on, Austin. I'd love to have you get on in the future.
Absolutely, guys. Hey, thanks so much for watching, and make sure to hit me up on Facebook. I love to talk.
Appreciate it. See you, brother.